He and I made a commitment that even though neither of us are retired, we will not say no to things in terms of travel and such. So he works remotely as well. And we just took a bucket trip to New Zealand for 3.5 weeks. And people we met were like, oh, you're retired. No, we could do some work on the road. And we have several other big trips planned. And we just, both of us on the medical side, we know exactly what could happen tomorrow. And we know too many people who waited and put things off, and we refuse to do that.
Welcome to Midlife Dialogues, where we interview people 50 or older who are doing something really interesting with their life or otherwise are an inspiration or fun to learn more about. This is part 2 of our talk with Debra Gordon. In our last interview, we talked about how Debra went from being what she called allergic to exercise to being a CrossFit pro who started a class specifically for people who are 50 and older that would otherwise likely never step foot in a CrossFit gym. Today, we're going to talk more about the why behind all that and the philosophies behind how Debra is living her life. So first of all, I want to ask you, how does it feel to know that you're helping other people with something that's so important as their health and their strength? I mean, that's kind of a big deal, what you're doing.
I feel like I am the luckiest person in the world that the owner and coach at the gym where I am had enough faith to let me start this class. It is the most gratifying thing I've ever done to watch these women and men surprise themselves. I have one woman who couldn't do a sit-up when she started. We had sit-ups in the workout the other day, and she's just boom, 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 boom. And I just go over to her and I'm like, excuse me, is this Sonia who couldn't do a sit-up when she started and cried because she couldn't do a sit-up? Sonia will just laugh. I will literally jump up and down with joy in the class watching them do something and clapping. It is such a high. I get $25 an hour to do this, right? I'm not doing it for the money. I would do it don't tell my coach, I would do it for free. And it is time, out of my regular work and schedule, but it is the most fun I've had in a job in a very long time.
Isn't that great? And something that is really giving back and important. A lot of times we end up doing something that needs to be done for work or whatever, but this is something that's really making a difference. If you had to pick one thing, what is the most satisfying thing about it for you?
Watching them surprise themselves, watching them do a movement that they never thought they could do it with a weight they never ever thought they could do. You should see the look on their faces when they deadlift 100 pounds for the first time, when they put the big plates on the bar for the first time, when they squat to or below parallel and they're in their squat, with weight on their back, and they look at me and the question is, am I low enough, coach? And I'm like, you got it. The look on their faces is just, it's priceless. It's just, this is not a job. This is fun. I don't have many hobbies other than reading and drinking wine and entertaining. This is, well, and I guess CrossFit. This is fun. This is really fun.
Yeah, that's neat. Would the child that you used to be surprised to see what you're doing now? Tell
Oh
me
my
about
God,
that.
completely shocked. There's no way. I mean, I did nothing. I don't really, ballet is very athletic, but I stopped that probably when I was 12 and started getting hips and realized I was never going to have a ballerina body. No, the 40-year-old woman would be shocked to see what I'm doing now. So
Wow.
everyone in my family was shocked to see that I started this.
Yeah, that's terrific. Tell me about your life overall right now. How is your life at this age and what surprises you? What thrills you about it?
So life is really good now. Our kids are obviously grown out of the house, ranging in age from 38 to 27, all married, all boys, 3 grandkids. So I've had my own business as a freelance medical writer for 23, 24 years, and for a very long time was quite the workaholic, to the point of it seriously becoming a problem. I worked on that with a therapist years ago, took a sabbatical, was able to literally reboot and get more of a boundaries, I guess you could say. And then my husband and I always talked about not retiring. We talk about downshifting. I think I've started to do that. So as a freelancer, I'm at a point in my career now where I don't go out and get business. I have just a couple of big clients, which I never would have done before. I never would have put all my eggs in one basket. But I'm sort of at this stage now where I don't want to say I don't care. I just am at a stage financially and in terms of how I feel about myself and my work that I don't feel like I have to be running all the time. And that's given me the space to do this CrossFit thing because I'm spending 3 hours a day, most days at the gym doing my workout, coaching 2 classes.
What a terrific way to be spending your life. Sounds like you're really in a good place.
I don't think either of us will ever completely retire. My husband works in the pharmaceutical industry. When he retires officially, he'll consult. I'll always be doing some kind of writing. There'll always be something that we're doing.
How long do you see yourself coaching this CrossFit type of class?
Indefinitely. The only downside, I will be honest, is because we travel and I also travel some for work. I feel so guilty when I'm not there because the ladies are like, when are you coming back? And, I feel like I've left my kids. And so that's been hard for me. It's the first time in over 20 years that I've had any kind of job that required me to physically be in place. I've been able to work from wherever, whenever I want.
If you had to sum up your life right now in 3 words, what might it be?
3 words. I'll give you 4 words. Where I want it. That isn't to say there aren't things that I wish were different. I wish my kids were closer. One kid's close in Richmond, which is about an hour and a half from us. But we have one kid and daughter-in-law. He's in the State Department. They're in Madagascar right now. They'll be all over the world every 2 years. And then our oldest and his wife and our grandkids are in Utah. And so that would be kind of something that I wish was a little different, but I'm trying to do my best with that. Otherwise, Keith, my husband, and I, we look at each other all the time. We're like, how did we get this lucky? And you make your own luck. Nobody gave us anything. We've worked hard. Both of us came from nothing, started with nothing. So we've worked hard our whole lives and we recognize we don't take it for granted.
And have you been to Madagascar?
We're going in April. Tickets are
That's
booked.
great. That's
Yeah.
the first thing I thought of when you said that they're all over the place. It's like, oh, every 2 years a trip,
Yes,
to an
yes.
interesting
And then
place.
their next posting is Germany. So that'll be easier because that's much quicker to get to.
Oh, how interesting. What advice would you give to others who want to embrace their life more at this age?
I would say do not say no. Don't say can't. In the classes I coach, people will always say, well, I can't do a push-up. And I will say, yes, you can. Here's how you're going to do it. So everything in life, just like in the gym, is modifiable. You could say, well, Deb, I don't have the money. I can't do 3.5 weeks in New Zealand. Okay, great. Can you do a long weekend in wine country? What can you do that will still give you that same sense of adventure and getting away and focusing on yourself or your loved one, your partner, that kind of thing, instead of it being all or nothing. In the gym, you can watch people at all levels. So you can see people doing these amazing gymnastic movements and pull-ups and push-ups and muscle-ups and just things, lifting unbelievable amounts of weight. Well, if I let that stop me, then I would just be curled up in a fetal ball because I'd be like, well, I can't do that. So there's no reason for me to try. Well, I can't do a 3.5 week trip to New Zealand. So what's the point in traveling? You have to start where you are and you take tiny steps. It took me, I can still only do maybe 2 or 3 strict pull-ups and it took me years to get there. So what? I don't have anything else but time. If I didn't keep trying, I wouldn't have those 3 pull-ups. So I would say spend your money on things you love. Don't wait for tomorrow. Do it today because God, life is really short. And the number one thing you have going for you is your health. And if you ignore that, you're going to be very, very sorry. And I say this given 30 years of writing about health and fitness and disease. Number one thing right now is health.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds about right. What do you see ahead for yourself? You've talked a little bit about this, but are there other adventures or projects or similar that you're still looking forward to that are different or that are continuing what you're doing now?
I am working on getting one of the personal training certifications, but focused on older people, so training older people. I would like, and I wrote a book proposal many, many years ago, but I really want to revise it now that I'm doing less on the freelance side or trying to, that would be focused on empowering women in healthcare. So my working title is Be a Patientzilla, get the healthcare you want, need, and deserve, because women are ignored, marginalized, told everything is in our head. I have 4 million stories like this where our issues are not taken seriously, even by female doctors, but particularly by male doctors. And we are not men with vaginas. We are completely different. So that's on my to-do list. I would love to have some fun with writing, food and wine and travel and just writing for fun, not for money. And just really keep doing the different kinds of travel that we're doing, just trying to stay healthy. My biggest fear is, and actually it's kind of happened, something happening that is then going to prevent me from doing what I want to do in the gym. So good example, a few years ago, I started having trouble with my knees, and turned out I have bad arthritis in my knees, and I could still do a lot in the gym, but honestly, just walking was hurting. I worked with a sports medicine guy for like 3 years doing injections and all. He got me 3 years, and then he said, okay, it's time to turn you over. So I got 2 knee replacements, and they're great. And I'm back in the gym doing every single thing. But now I've got bad arthritis in my shoulder. So that's holding me back just a little. And so there's some things now that I can't do. And I'm trying to get over the ego part and say, okay, I can't do pull-ups right now, but I can do ring rows. I'm still working the same muscles. I'm still getting the same stimulus. I'm still in the gym.
Well, thank you so much, Deb. It's really interesting to hear all about what you're doing and how it's going. This was great. Thank you
Oh,
so
it's
much.
wonderful. I look forward to seeing more of your videos. I think it's great what you're doing.
Oh, thank you. Thanks very much. And everybody else, thanks for watching Midlife Dialogues, and we'll see you next time.